Thanks for the introduction, and also thanks, Vlasis, for the very humbling presentation. In comparison to you, I think we could rename our presentation into something like a series of privileged events in terms of our AI journey. I'm Tim from Sound Vision, and I presented with Virginia from RTVE here already 3 or 4 times before, and we start to feel a little bit like twins, so that's why we stick together here on the podium. And does this work like this? Yeah, we're twinning it. We like to see ourselves as a winning team. Sometimes we are good, sometimes we are evil twins. But always we're both optimistic if it comes to AI and its opportunities to automatic annotation and find great access points for our users. We also like to be quite critical in terms of the output of AI and its usability for the users. So when the opportunity arose to talk here together about AI and humans in the loop, we decided to twin up again. But we had to quickly acknowledge that we're not exactly identical twins. I would love to be it, but it's not the case. We both have an AI-savvy commonality, but there are also obvious differences in regards to the challenges that we face and the journey that we took. So I would like to illustrate the uniqueness of Sound and Vision in comparison to RTVE. That's obviously much more unique and wonderful. But I would like to illustrate the uniqueness of Sound and Vision by underlining 3 elements, or scents, if you wish, that blended together smell like Sound and Vision. So first of all, what smells like Sound and Vision? It's a bit of bravura of the avant-garde, or some might say sometimes a bit of arrogance even. Our AI experiments, we started to do them way before 2010. We still have a very thriving R&D department. That was very early on heavily involved in creating prototypes regarding automatic annotation technologies. But in 2012, we took the brave step to actually go past this prototyping phase and just say, let's just put something in production and see if it works. So it was kind of avant-garde. Nowadays, perhaps you could say the law of the handicap of a head start applies if I compare it to some other presenters here. One could also say we're just very privileged. So that is element 1. Element 2, smells like Sound and Vision, smells like cauliflower. I think it stinks, cauliflower. But visually, it's quite beautiful. It's quite decadent as well. Why is a cauliflower decadent? I will explain this to you. Once we had a first-generation MMC system called Humains, and it was an in-house developed, customized system. And as Dutch people, we like to build things on top of each other. And we built so much functionalities in the first generation MMC system at a certain point that it was just getting very top-heavy or expanded like a cauliflower. But it got so heavy that we had to declare it end of life at a certain point in time. But what did we think? Oh, it's going to die anyway, so let's build some more things on top of it and see what happens. So that was quite decadent. The advantage of just being given some free space to really do something in production and allowing ourselves to let it even be to fail, because so it's going to drop that, was that we could really experiment together with the archivist and IT. They really worked well together. And to check how we could make automatic annotations searchable for users and also presentable in a nice way. So we hooked up some techniques, term extraction and speaker labeling, in quite an agile way, and under the adagium, more is more. So let's do it. Another typical Dutch scent would be not so much more is more, but less is more, bit of Mondrian, let's make it abstract, let's go for purity, efficiency, how can we find the quickest road from A to B. I don't really like this aspect of Mondrian. That's why I turned it a bit like, okay, it's already too straight, so let's mess it up a little bit. But anyway, for archives like Sound and Vision, this efficiency-driven element is of course important. And in that sense, I could also say that for Sound and Vision, I could rename this presentation into Humans out of the annotation loop. I will explain why in a second. So, media management, what was it again? For us, Sound and Vision. It was a change management program that we started in 2012, in which we wanted to radically change the approach to archiving from a reactive annotation far after the production, broadcasting, and archiving changed way back there. We wanted to make it more proactive by enhancing metadata quality earlier on in the production environment. Simply, we asked the broadcasters to enhance their quality and to enter the data in their systems. That's why the NOS, the Dutch broadcasters that were sitting over there, they just left. They don't like us anymore. So they did improve a lot of metadata in their systems, but not everything was possible. So the gaps that were there, like speakers that were not annotated or thesaurus terms, we decided, let's do it automatic. The end users already had access to subtitles for the deaf and the hearing impaired from 2010, and they really liked this fine-grained access, and we did too. So they smelled the future, and we did too, and we wanted more of that. In 2011, we hooked up speech recognition on a few news broadcasts into our catalog. And on top of that, we also built, because we build things on top of each other, we built a thesaurus suggestion system that our documentalist could use to enter the data. But it was called AS, Archive Support System or Archive Suggestion System, I don't know anymore. And it also didn't function at all, or at least our documentalist didn't like it. So, yeah. Where we were supposed to kick ass with this thing, we kicked ass out of the way and it died immediately. But with this cauliflower incentive to just experiment and with the boost of media management, we, from 2012 onwards, we started to implement this term extraction and speaker labeling. Also, another thing that died quite early on, thesaurus term extraction. Yeah, it was actually purely designed to replace manual annotation. This is the subject terms or locations or names or person names that were a topic of discussion in a program. Usually we would enter that by hand. But we wanted to reduce all time spent on manual annotation, so we decided a system can probably do it pretty well. In this case, and you've seen this slide probably 100 times, there was a broadcast talking about Dutch sauce for fries, mayonnaise, and it was labeled automatically with Irish County of mayo. So it didn't really work that well in the beginning that we had the system. The thesaurus labels were 50% accurate or relevant. Later on it was 80%, so it was quite okay. Versus the humans that reach 95% accuracy. But anyway, in 2019, this thesaurus system provider was bought up by a Google-like giant, and we discontinued it because we couldn't really develop it in-house, and nobody really loved it anyway. So, for linked data nowadays, there still is a huge gap, so we have to still do something with this. Then speaker labeling from 2015, it also went in production after 3 years of testing in this media management era from 2012 to 2015. And this worked much better. We put also, I think, exactly the same threshold as RTS put, 0.7. And by that, we reached an accuracy of 95% of all labels that are ingested in the system. Everything that's below that threshold, we simply don't ingest or make searchable. It also means that everything that is below this threshold is not ingested in our system, so there are holes, there are gaps in our automatic annotations with speakers. In the beginning of the implementation of the speaker labeling, humans were very much involved in the AI loop. We tested which genres applied best, what worked and what didn't work. But nowadays, I have to say, it's practically fully automated because we trigger speaker labeling based on genres. For instance, a talk show, it works very well, but music or youth programs, it doesn't work so well. So we put a trigger in the MUM system of VisRT with help of Jonas over there from Mayam. So every time a radio or TV program is ingested based on the genre, it's labeled or not. And the voice of the speaker models that have to be updated to reach an acceptable coverage of 40% of speech. We also delegated that to our vendor. We are like, shoo, go and do your work and make sure it's 95% accurate. So also there, our own humans are out of the loop. Then in 2019, we added face recognition. And also, the archive department was very much involved in the beginning of the implementation and the evaluation of the prototype. For the rest, everything is automated again via this genre triggering. It's roughly the same genres as for speaker labeling apply, except also, for instance, movies and a bit more sport, I think. And we do have one media manager that does efforts to create the face models, because for face labeling we do it ourselves to keep the model database up to date and also to prevent bias. So there we still have one lucky human in the loop. So where are we now? What is going to happen in the future? Well, the advantage of propelling humans like me out of the annotation loop is that they have time for other things. Lots of our former archivists now became clever media managers, like Hestra and Annelies over there, or they do other things. They moved on towards storytelling and curation, and that I think was for our former documentalists really also a very big incentive to like cheer with all this automation. Like we can do things that we actually like better. So, yeah, people like me that are also propelled, because I was always a documentalist and not anymore. Yeah, what do I do now? Well, I give speeches at seminars like this. But one of the activities that I was busy with last year was documenting, like a data archaeologist, what incompletenesses we have in our metadata, not only due to the automatic annotation and AI, but especially also before in the human annotation era. Because what we see is that also lots of human decision in terms of selection policy and annotation policy have an effect on the data from the past, but still it also perpetuates the bias and incompleteness in the future. For instance, because our thesaurus is very important in the AI technology, and the thesaurus is fed by humans in the past that used to describe news and current affairs much more extensive than, for instance, entertainment or music. So there is an imbalance there. And we are currently mapping this kind of inconsistencies so we can improve them. Together with humans and machines, we want to fix the distortions and gaps and enhance the data quality. Another thing that we really have to work on is to ensure that there's also more transparency towards the end users, because our AI output now is just simply put in a tab with time codes that you can click to play on. It doesn't even say there are confidence scores or that it is AI generated. So that's another thing for the future. And big questions like, what shall we do if we have to do a tender again? Shall we maybe try to do it ourselves or not? What do we do with the metadata? Do we store it in our MAM, or do we choose for other solutions like a data lake or a knowledge graph or something? Big questions. That was it from my part, and let's see what Virginia here has to say in comparison.
Yeah, I didn't know that that was a cauliflower.
Yeah, it's just a sort of a artsy-fartsy fractal cauliflower, yeah.
Okay, I guess you took part of my time.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. You know, I'm a big fan of Team Manders since the first time we met in Warsaw, 2017, during a Fiativta conference. And it is always exciting to present with him. So I'm following his lead, and I will be using some Spanish paintings to explain the RTVE journey to integrate humans in the AI loop. The first AI projects at RTVE were carried out by a group of idealistic people in 2017. The venture was really risky. 5 years before, in 2012, speech-to-text and OCR integrated into the archive system were dismissed without tests or metrics. There was a great debate at that time. Are there giants or windmills? At that time, again, quality won the battle against quantity. So in 2017, the RTVE innovation area started to develop AI projects and invited the archive to join them. We tested AI for metadata generation, for special news coverage, and to improve production in news programs based on in-depth interviews. All those tests were always outside of the production process, of course. In 2020, RTVE awarded the first AI tender to automatically catalog 11K hours of content at the television archive. We are using now a cloud service provided by a supplier integrating third-party technology. The most relevant aspects of this project are, from a content perspective, the broad scope in terms of formats, in terms of periods covered from the 60s, film material, to the early 2000s, and now content recently broadcast. This makes the RTVE project a singular one, in my opinion. And from the technological perspective, I would like to highlight something. On the one hand, the archive system is prepared to receive metadata regardless the AI provider. And we also have the right to change AI tools if quality decreases or if the technology improves, and that's great. I will say that, like Picasso, we have been able to evolve and to adapt the AI project and the workflow to our needs in every stage of the process during the last 2 years. The archive team leading this project includes archivists from news and broadcast, from news and programs archive with different approaches and different backgrounds. And especially during the setup phase, we have big discussions and relevant discussions about how to integrate AI in the workflow. We ask ourselves questions such as, should we focus on the most recent material because models are especially trained for this kind of content, so the performance of the system is quite good? How much time it is reasonable to invest in checking and correcting the machine's output? Could researchers be happy enough with the quality? If not, was it a risk for the project that the results might not be that good? And again, are RTVE thesaurus relevant, accurate enough to be part of this AI cataloging context? That's a relevant question. Should we integrate all the AI-generated metadata into the archive system? If not, what is the limit and what criteria should be used? As you can see, AI brought back some classic cataloging questions. Fantastic and terrifying creatures are and have been always surrounding the archive, and at RTVE we believe in the need to be alert. So how are we using AI? The AI workflow starts at the archive system. Catalogers can select audio analysis, video analysis, or both. Together with the technology provider, we have defined different analysis models based on the number of speakers expected and also on the kind of content, news or entertainment. The algorithms are set up to automatically select the track with the best ratio of quality and quantity of speech, but the archivist might manually reprocess it. We are using audio analysis for news, well-structured, recently broadcast content without human supervision at all. Audio analysis as well for current affairs and magazines with light human supervision on the results. Mainly, we focus on tagging and content classification. And we are using video analysis for news programs broadcast in languages other than Spanish. At this moment, we are in the middle of a POC for the sessions of the Catalan Parliament. I guess my colleagues from TV3 will like to learn from this experience. And we are, as we'll tell you later, we are also working with face recognition for these sessions. We are also applying image analysis for music programs, quizzes, and archive-based productions. And we are testing with humor shows because they are highly demanded in the archive. And we are applying both audio and video analysis, mainly OCR and object and mark detection for well-structured programs with background music, debates or spontaneous speech with light human supervision. No content is included in the AI loop at RTVE without human supervision. Any newly released program is tested first, and if the result is good, it is integrated in the AI loop. How are we doing that? Catalogers test the tool performance for the content they manage, and if the result is acceptable, then the content is transferred to automatic cataloging only tools. Researchers as well can suggest content to be automatically analyzed for specific user needs. At the moment, we don't have statistics, I have to confess, to tell us whether there has been an increase in the number of hours analyzed or whether the process is more time efficient for catalogers, or they simply have more time to coffee. In comparison with the Dutch effectiveness, I will say that Spanish is more creative and unconventional. Yeah. When the tender was awarded, the complete workflow and the gateways to communicate the archive with a cloud provider has not been established, so we were late. Now AI-generated metadata is indexed and shown in the archive system. There are dedicated fields for each of the elements returned by the AI provider, although the way they are presented is not intuitive enough. Information about the AI provider, the date of analysis, analysis model use, and the confidence level are stored and displayed to all users. It is also possible to retrieve AI-generated metadata both through free text searches and using global indexes. There is a specific index for AI fields and another that combines human and machine-generated metadata. We do not yet have data regarding searches on AI fields, but we will get it soon, and we will analyze maybe for the next MMC seminar. We believe in the loop of humans at RTVE, and we are using AI in progressively growing controlled groups, and we expect to have these technologies fully implemented in the near future. We believe in training and essential part of the AI integration project at RTVE, but we also need to include catalogers as active agents in the transformation. And with this purpose, we have organized between January 2022 and May 2023, 10 training courses for RTVE professionals, including archivists, but also technicians. The course were organized in 4 different sessions. First one, introducing an introduction to the AI technologies. Second one, AI in broadcast archives, what others are doing. Third one, project implementation. We introduced the AI project from tendering to workflow, and the last one was about the performance and the current results of the project. And this last was led by archivists from the News and Program Archive. We also organized 4 focus groups with catalogers and researchers, and we asked them 5 open questions regarding the use of AI in the archive, of course, but the most relevant questions were: what does AI provide that cannot be achieved with manual cataloging? Or how can you integrate manual work without automated cataloging? It is nice, or not, I don't know, but catalogers and researchers came up with similar answers. Manual cataloging will decrease in the future, according to both groups, and will be applied only to the most production-relevant content. Catalogers will focus on quality control and algorithm training. AI provides better processing working capacity, accurate transcriptions for searches of who said what, but also massive unstructured data. On the other hand, human cataloging provides precision, relevance, standardization, normalization, high level of abstraction, ability to interpret images according to user needs, and legal use limitations. I'm finished. As I mentioned, we are starting to rethink in the future, but the good news is that we have been able, as I mentioned before, to evolve from very realistic painting to a very cubism one. So, what is the difference?
Spot the differences. I think it's up to you all. So we will leave it at this, because I stole your time in the room or something.
That's all.
Thank you.